Okay, kindly tell your classmates to kindly um enter the Zoom. Going to start our discussion for today. Okay. Kung mapapansin niyo may sinend na akong handouts 'no, our discussion will revolve about, around your handouts. Yun din yung lalabas sa exams niyo on Wednesday 'no. Heads up lang po, again, your, midterm exams will be moved on Wednesday rather than Thursday gawa ng wala po ako ng Thursday and Friday, okay. Kaya na-move po tayo ng Wednesday, April 29. Time to be announced kasi kailangan ko pang mag-coordinate sa CSS about this. So, basta ready lang kayo na on Wednesday may exam po tayo. Okay? So, ano po yung coverage dyan, ma'am? Coverage po natin from Module 6 to Module 9, kung ano yung i-discuss natin today. Module 6, your communicability and your immunization. 'No? So, lahat ng ano, puwede kayong mag-use ng other, puwede nating resources for your study on, ah, lalo na sa immunization, 'no? Puwede kayong gumamit ng ibang references if you want to, okay? Your workbook, again, deadline before your midterm exams, which is on Sunday. So, until Wednesday, sige, pagbibigyan ko until Wednesday. Pero hanggang Wednesday na lang, 'no? What else? Heads up lang din, nag-manual checking po ako ng grades po, ng scores niyo po sa exam, sa prelim exam. Anong meron mga be? Anong nangyari? Kamusta kayo sa exam? How was the exam? Umiiyak na lang talaga. Oh, how was your exam? Okay lang, mga nagkalituhan po sa calculation po, ma'am, kasi hindi na alam kung anong anong formula ang gagamit. Pero ano 'no, merong shortcut kasi yung mga calculations kung hindi niyo napapansin. 'No, hirap ng may square root na problems, ma'am, 'di naman sila perfect square. Oo, mahirap talaga pero kung mapapansin niyo sobrang layo naman ng square root na choices 'no, yung pinakamalapit na lang sana. Sobrang dali, ma'am, nakakaiyak. Sobrang dali at nakakaiyak. Okay. May slight changes lang tayo with the coverage of your final exams. Your final exams will cover from module 1 to module 14. No, your midterms will be module 6 to 9. Okay. Ano pong passing grade sa exam, ma'am? Passing score, sabi ni Ma'am Marge kanina, would be 60. Ma'am, di man kami umabot ng 50. Mag-laugh. Mag-laugh na lang ako. Anong laugh niyo? Iyak na lang talaga. 60 daw ang passing score. Ay, wala na tayong magagawa, no? Again, let's practice proper online class etiquette, no? Baka yung nag-drawing nung nakaraan, baka pwedeng keep your hands to yourself. No, ilang percent po ang mga pumasa over all the examinees? Siguro nasa 20, 30, mga 20 to 30% papasok ng yung mga that is 50 above. Kaya ngayong midterms 'no, sana makabawi na tayo. Bye-bye capping and pinning siya next year. Hindi po, kasi ang basihan po natin ng capping and pinning ay kung nakapasa po kayo ng HA. Kaya hindi po ako kasama sa criteria nyo para makapag-capping and pinning. Makakapag-capping at pinning pa rin kayo. Basta given na pasado kayo sa HA. Wait lang kayo kasi i-open ko lang ang aking isang gadget. Nakapag-fitting naman na kayo, wag naman yung sasabihin na bye-bye capping and pinning naman. Okay, naririnig ba ako? Yes naman, ma'am. Yes na yes po.
Tapos, ang request ko ito, mag-agad tayo ng quality. Pwede bang 25 pa lang start na
Okay.
for the summer?
For today, we're going to be discussing module 7, 8, and 9. No, it's a prank lang daw yun, ma'am. Kunwari papasa. Kailangan papasa. Walang pwedeng bumagsak sa subject ko. No? Kaya tandaan nyo, ayaw ko na kayong makita next year. Ayoko na kayong makita next year. Kaya maawa kayo, ipasa nyo na ng midterms at finance to. Walang babalik. Walang babalik. Maawa kayo sa akin, maawa kayo sa sarili nyo. Walang Hello Micro para next year. Hindi ko kayo i-welcome back. Dapat papasan nyo yan ngayong midterms, no, sa mga lagapak. Yung mga medyo lagapak tayo dyan, no? Sorry naman. So, Module 7, 8, and 9 will revolve around drugs and breastfeeding, no? Yung mga drugs or medications na nagko-cross papunta sa milk, no, ng mother. And ano ba yung mga drugs na hindi dapat tinitake? And ano ang magiging side effects sa bata pag nag-take sila ng ganitong drugs? Yung mother is nag-take ng ganitong drugs. No? So, doon tayo magre-revolve. First and foremost, let's define breastfeeding muna. Ano ba yung meaning ng breastfeeding? Chat nyo nga. Sige nga.
Dapat sa hindi
Ano yung breastfeeding? Wala. Quiet people lang silang lahat. Ano na? Baka naman. Anong definition natin ng breastfeeding? Hello? Hello, cluster 2. Are you there? Yes. Raised hand. Yes. Ano yun? What is the definition of breastfeeding? Feeding an infant. Tama naman. Provision of nutrition for infants through the mother's breast. Yes. Pagpapadede po sa newborn. Yes. Tama naman. Wala namang mali sa sinabi nyo, no? Because your breastfeeding is a process of feeding, no, of an infant directly from the mother. So, from the mother's breast, doon talaga yung source niya, no? Kasi si mother ang nagbibigay ng milk, no? Nagpo-produce ng milk for optimal source of nutrition. Hindi lang po yung nutrition kasi kung ano yung ini-intake ng mother, nagko-cross din po sa milk yan. Kaya kung ano yung kinakain, no, what the mother eat, the baby will eat that too, no? Yung sinasabi nila. Now, paano natin, di ba sinasabi na pag kung ano yung kinakain ng mother, ano yung iniinom ng mother na gamot, makikita din natin sa milk, no? So, bakit? How does it happen? That happens through what? That happens through your passive diffusion, no? Passing from maternal plasma compartment through the capillary walls into the alveolar cell lining the milk buds, no? So, from the blood, dadaan siya dun sa mga capillary alveolar cells, no? Papunta sa milk buds or sa milk, no? Pag sinabi natin diffusion, what does it mean? Ano yung process niyan? Anong process ng diffusion? Is it higher to lower concentration or lower to higher concentration? Is it from higher to lower or lower to higher concentration? Higher to lower. So, pag higher to lower, no, that is your diffusion. Pag sinabi namang passive, it does not need energy or your ATP, no, para ma-produce yung process na to. So, it does not use energy or does not use ATP to have this travel of substances or molecules, no, from higher to lower concentration. That is your passive diffusion, no. Next would be, we have LACMED. LACMED is a database, no, of medication na lahat ng information about sa drugs and chemicals na meron that can affect breastfeeding mothers, andun doon. So doon makita yung mga information ng mga drugs, no? So database yan siya, drug and lactation database. Kung ano yung pwedeng inumin ng mother, ano yung mga gamot na pwedeng mag-pose ng risk sa mother, yung mga contraindicated sa mother, no? Yan, makikita mo yan dyan. So kung may mga tanong ka, i-check mo lang dyan kung pwede ba sa mother yon, no? So, the drug transfer depends on, actually, anim yun siya, no? Anim siya. Number one po dito is the molecular size or your weight, no? Kung mapapansin nyo dun sa ating handouts, no? Anong sabi doon? The smaller, easy transfer, no? So, kung mas smaller siya, kung smaller siya, syempre, mas madali siyang makakapag-transfer. No? Mas mabilis siyang makakapag-transfer. Ma'am, gaano kaliit ang maliit? Less than 300 daltons. So, kung ang molecular weight ng substance or drug substance na present sa blood is less than 300 daltons, makakapag-pass through siya dun sa alveolar cells, no? Kaya napupunta siya dun sa milk from blood, dadaan siya dun sa alveolar cells, papunta doon sa milk, no? Ma'am, paano pag 600 to 800 daltons? Pag 600 to 800 daltons, nakakapag-cross pa ba siya? Makakapunta pa ba siya sa milk? Easy access ba siya? Mabilis lang ba siyang makapag-transfer? Yes or no? Answer. Yes or no? Para na ako si Sir Drew. Yes or no? No? Yes or no? No. No. No daw, sabi ni Shreya. No. Kim Mina. Kim Mina talaga yung pangalan mo, be? Sorry. Pasensya na. No. Sabi ni John Algen. Si Mina Kim pala ito eh. No. No kasi, syempre, again, smaller size is less than 300 daltons. Syempre, hindi na to less than 300. So, hindi siya madaling makakapag-transfer. No, hindi siya madaling makakapag-transfer. Ngayon, this is how your yung sa bloodstream, no, to your breast milk, no? For the first few days of postpartum, no, yung time na colostrum pa yung pinoproduce, yung konti pa lang yung napoproduce na milk, no, yung alveolar cell, yung size niya is parang ganito lang siya, no, ganito lang siya. Mas maliit siya, and kung mapapansin nyo, meron siyang gap dito. Ito may gap dito sa gitna. Hindi siya ganito kadikit, no? So, if in your bloodstream, meron kang mga drug substances or molecules dyan, that is regardless of your size, regardless if hydrophobic ba siya, regardless if lipophilic ba siya, fat soluble ba siya, madali siyang makapag-transfer papunta ng breast milk. Bakit? May presence kasi ng malalaking gaps dito between two alveolar cells, no? So mas madali silang mag-cross papunta ng breast milk. Kaya nag-a-accumulate sila doon sa breast milk. Kaya ma-expect natin na konti lang yung napoproduce ng milk pero concentrated siya depending kung ano ang kinakain ng mother, ano yung iniinom ni mother, no? Kasi nakakalusot pa yung mga substances natin kasi may gap pa siya, no? May gap pa siya. Now, that is on the first few days, no? That's for the first few days. After that, no, as time passes by, yung alveolar cell mo is nagsiswell, no? The moment na dumadami na yung production ng breast milk mo, yung alveolar mo is nagsiswell. Kaya yung malalaking particles or malalaking substances or molecules, hindi na siya easily makakapag-transfer. So yung mga maliliit na lang. Gaano kaliit yung maliit again? That's less than 300 daltons. No? Sila yung mga sumusuot-suot dyan o mga kaliit-liitan, kasulok-sulukan ng alveolar cells. That is how your passive diffusion goes, no? From bloodstream, dadaan siya ng alveolar cell papunta ng breast milk. Next would be lipophilicity. Pag sinabing lipophilicity, we're talking about lipid solubility. From the word lipo, lipid, philicity, solubility. Tama, di ba? Philicity is your solubility. O, gaano siya ka-soluble? Philicity, yun lang din. Ay, sorry naman. No. Pag sinabing lipid solubility, no? Pag sinabing high lipid solubility, it means easy diffusion. Paano? Bakit natin masasabi na easy diffusion si high lipid solubility? No? Your mammary alveolar cells which produce and secrete milk, enclosed siya ng lipid bilayer membrane. No? Lipid bilayer membrane yung nakapaloob sa kanya, yung nakapalibot pala sa kanya rather. Ngayon, if your drug is high lipid soluble, no, or high lipophilicity, madidissolve siya sa membrane na to at mas madali siyang makakapag-cross. No? Madali siyang makakapag-cross. So for example, balik tayo doon sa alveolar cells na ganyan. This is your blood, this is your milk. Pag a molecule is high lipid soluble, ito lipid din to, no? This is also high lipid, no? Yung membrane mo is a lipid bilayer membrane. No? Kaya same siya, maaano lang siya, no? Madidissolve siya, kaya makakapag-cross siya. That is for high lipid soluble drugs, no? Pero if an instance na water soluble yung drugs, pag water soluble ang drugs, hindi siya makakapasok, no? Hindi siya makakapasok. Bakit? This is because your lipid bilayer is hydrophobic, no? Ayaw niya sa tubig. Kaya ayaw niya sa water soluble na mga gamot or drugs, no? Because that is hydrophobic. Hindi niya hinahayaan na makapag-cross yung water soluble drugs. Kaya again, ano yung makakapag-diffuse ng easily? That is your high lipid soluble drugs. High lipid soluble drugs. Ang hindi nakakapagpasok agad is your water soluble drugs. Okay? Tandaan din natin na yung breast milk or your hind milk, rich in fat po yan siya. Okay? Rich in fat. And your diffusion acts as higher to lower, 'di ba? Ngayon, your hind milk rich in fat na siya. Yung lipophilic drugs mo attracted siya sa high fat environment kaya pupunta siya doon, no? Pupunta siya doon sa may high concentration ng fat. Nagagets ba? Your hind milk rich in fat, no? And your lipophilic drugs likes high fat environment. Kaya pupunta siya doon sa milk kasi doon rich in fat. I hope nagagets niyo yan siya because we're going to go to the next number, no? Your protein binding. Pag sinabing protein binding, less binding daw, more transfer. Ma'am, paano yan, ma'am? Pag less, more ang transfer. Yes, protein binding kasi plays a critical role in determining the amount na pwedeng pumasok sa milk ng mother. Paano yan siya? No, doon pa lang sa blood, dito pa lang sa blood, no? Dito pa lang sa blood, nagbabind na yan dyan ang protein tsaka yung drug na molecules, no? So, ibabind yan siya ni protein. Pag nakabind na siya kay protein, mahihirapan na siyang pumasok. Hindi na siya makakapasok papunta ng milk. Ngayon, if si mother is, yung protein niya is less, no? Konti lang yung protein niya, edi less yung mababind na drug dun sa protein. It means na kung less ang mabind na protein, mas marami ang free-flowing na molecular substance ng drugs. Kaya yun ang nakakapasok papunta ng milk. Nagegets ba? Yes, ma'am. Wala kayong choice. No. Again, si drug nandito lang siya, no? Magsa-start siya na circulating sa blood plasma, sa dugo ng mother, no? Bago siya pupunta dito, magbabind na kung anong available na protein natin, ibabind niya kung ano yung meron dyan na drug substance sa blood. So, kung ano yung mga substance na hindi na bind sa protein, yun yung magko-cross papunta ng milk. So, the less ang nababind ng protein, mas marami ang free-flowing na substance, mas marami ang tatawid sa milk. No? Isipin na lang natin, nagsastampede kayo palabas ng school, tapos iisa lang ang gwardya. Iisa lang yung mapipigilan niya. Tapos the rest sa kayo, pwede kayong lumabas. No? Pero kung in the instance na maraming guard, ang maraming bantay, marami silang mapipigilan, konti lang ang makakalusot. Nagigets niyo ba? Yes, ma'am. May questions kayo dyan? Again, less binding, more transfer. Number 4, wag nilang pansinin to. No? Number 4 is your half-life. No? Your drugs has half-life. Kung gaano kabilis ma-clear out sa katawan yung drugs, no? That is your half-life. You have your short and your long half-life. No? The shorter the half-life of the medication, the better. Bakit? Mas mabilis ang enter and exit sa milk ng mga may short half-life. Pag long, mas matagal yung exposure niya for the baby. And possibly, sa sobrang tagal, pag nagpadede ka, meron pa ring remnants o di kaya meron pa ring presence ng drugs sa milk mo. No? So, kahit mag-pump ang mother, tapos itatapon, pag yung half-life ng gamot is matagal, magpo-produce lang talaga yung katawan mo ng milk na merong drug na yon. Kasi circulating pa rin siya sa buong katawan mo. Hindi pa rin siya na-metabolize, hindi pa rin siya na-excrete ng tuluyan. Kaya nag-a-accumulate siya sa milk. Pag ininom yan ng bata, expect mo na magkakaroon ng side effects o di kaya signs and symptoms ng it's either toxicity, CNS depression, and the likes. No? So, there are drugs na may long half-lives. Ito yung mga more than 24 hours yung half-life, no? Yan, matagal talaga to. Kaya, ang iba, kung may tinitake sila na medication, if may tinitake sila na kung nag-a-abuse sila ng drugs, no, hindi advisable sa kanila yung magpadede. Kasi, nasa dugo nila yung molecules pa rin ng drugs. Hindi nawawala in a day, hindi nawawala in 2 days, no? So, meron tayong examples dyan mamaya, no? For example, your diazepam, no? Diazepam, half-life niya is 30 to 60 hours, no? Imaginein mo lang kung gaano katagal yung 30 to 60 hours na yan. Tapos magpapadede ka, expect mo na yung side effects ng diazepam mamamanifest sa anak mo kung nagpadede ka within that 30 to 60 hours. No? Ano pang example niyan? Your paracetamol. Kaya 'di ba advised sa mga buntis, advised sa mga lactating mothers na pag may masakit or something, no, mag-paracetamol. Hindi katulad ng tramadol because tramadol is I think it is not recommended for pregnant women, no? Hindi siya recommended. So, again, half-life, shorter shorter half-life, the better. Longer half-life, it means longer exposure. No? Next would be your methamphetamine or your shabu. No? Pag si mother is nagsashabu, expect mo na that yung molecules ng drugs would be present sa maternal plasma for 100 hours or more or less nasa 4 days. No, nasa 4 days. Oh, hindi mo papadedein yung anak mo for 4 days kasi nag nagshabu ka, no? Hindi na nag-feed. Kaso pag nag-feed ka naman tapos nagshabu ka, nag-feed ka naman, hindi naman makakapag-feed yung anak mo kasi may ano na, side effects na yung methamphetamine, no? Kasi nag-ano siya, nagko-cross siya sa milk. No, next would be your pH differences. No, tandaan natin your milk is slightly more acidic, acidic than your maternal plasma. No, your milk more acidic than your maternal plasma. Kaya yung weak bases, ang mangyayari sa kanila, no, pag for example, this is your weak base, like your nicotine, no, dadaan siya papunta dito. Pupunta siya sa milk, which is slightly more acidic. No? Pagdating sa milk, nagiging ionized siya. Nagkakaroon siya ng charge, kaya magiging ionized siya. Ngayon na ionized siya, mahihirapan na siyang lumabas. Mahihirapan na siyang lumabas. Kaya ito yung tinatawag natin na ion trapping. Your ion trapping. Nagiging ionized siya or charged, kaya hindi siya pabalik sa maternal circulation. No? Kasi meron kasing iba na, for example, this is your maternal circulation, no? Your blood. Papasok lang yung molecule, pero pag wala naman siyang gagawin dyan, lalabas lang din siya, no? Not in this case, no? Pag pumasok na kasi si weak base, pagdating niya sa milk, magkakaroon na siya ng charge, no? Hindi na siya makalabas ng basta-basta. Hindi na siya makakabalik sa patient's patients sa maternal compartment or maternal circulation. Okay? Last for your drug transfer drug transfer depends on, no, is your medication dosage. Kaya pag mataas ang dosage, expect mo mas mataas yung intake ng medication, no? Mataas din yung circulating weight molecule na circulate sa buong katawan mo, no? So pag mataas yung dosage tapos bawal sa bata, edi mas mag-a-accumulate lang din sa blood ng mas marami, no? Again, we have 6. Your molecular weight, that is pag less than 300 daltons. Next is pag high lipid solubility equals easy transfer. Pag less ang protein binding, that is more transfer. Pag half-life shorter, better. pH differences, ion trapping. And medication dosages, the higher the dosage, the higher the accumulation. Sana naintindihan natin yung mga depending. No? Next would be, bakit nga ba may epekto ito sa newborn at infant? Tandaan natin yung mga bagong panganak po ng mga bata, immature pa po yung liver nila. Hindi lang po liver, pati po yung kidney po nila. Kaya, pag nasa liver, hindi nila ma-metabolize yung drugs during the first pass. Hindi nila ma-metabolize yung drugs, kaya pagdating ng kidney, hindi din niya mailabas through ihi. No, hindi niya mailabas through ihi. Anong nangyayari? Nagsistay po siya sa serum plasma, dadaan po siya sa hindi pa po mature na blood-brain barrier, kaya pupunta siya sa brain. Pag pumunta na siya sa brain, the manifestations for CNS depression can actually be seen on the infant. No? Nagagets ba? Nagagets ba? Kaya mabagal po ang metabolism tsaka elimination ng mga bata gawa ng hindi po ma-process ng katawan yung drugs po na pumapasok. Okay, kasi immature pa po yung organ tsaka hindi pa talaga nagpa-function well. Yun po ang rason. No? Next would be increased sensitivity to drugs. Siyempre, bata pa, hindi pa talaga ganun ka established yung kanyang, hindi pa established yung elimination and metabolism niya. No? Kaya kahit konting amount lang ng drugs, nagre-react na siya. Kasi bata pa lang eh. No? So that is what you call your increased sensitivity to drugs. General nabubulol na ako. General principles, again, kung ano lang sinabi natin kanina, no? You're poorly absorbed orally ng mga medication, including your insulin, no? Next would be pag shorter half-life, shorter the better, and highly protein bound kasi less ang free flowing na substances. Kaya, less ang nata-transfer. Okay? Pag high protein bound, dami niyang napipigilang pumunta doon sa milk. No? Pag high, maraming napipigilan pumunta ng milk. Pag low, marami ang free-flowing kaya nakaka-escape sila papunta ng milk. No? Next would be your high-risk drugs. Long half-life kasi mas mataas yung exposure, mas matagal yung exposure ng baby sa drugs na present sa milk. Next is CNS acting drugs kasi hindi pa mature o hindi pa ganun ganda yung ating blood-brain barrier. And then your cytotoxic drugs or your chemotherapeutic drugs na makakapag-decrease din ng makakapag-suppress din ng makakapag-suppress ng immune system ng mga bata. So, hindi lang siya gagana sa mother, pati yung bata madadamay. Kaya kailangan minomonitor yan sila. No? Let's talk about your teratogenic drugs. Pag sinabing teratogenic, ito yung mga drugs na may potential to cause birth defects or developmental malformations. No? Yung mga putol ang paa, isa ang kamay, no? May facial abnormality, may microcephaly, may hydrocephalus, no, cardiac, GI, and everything na problema, no, that is because nagtitake sila ng teratogenic drugs. Ngayon, pag sinabing teratogenic drugs, is it for breastfeeding or those na nagtatrabaho pa lang? Yung breastfeeding, teratogenic drugs, no, Nagtatrabaho pa lang. Sorry. Yung teratogenic drugs, is it tinitake ng breastfeeding moms or yung mga buntis pa lang? Yung teratogenic drugs, sa mga buntis ba yan siya or lactating or breastfeeding moms? Sa mga, ayan o, sa definition natin, sa mga buntis ba or sa mga um, ah nagpapadede na? Isa lang ba ang ano ko? Isa lang ba ang student? Buntis po. Sa Zontis, no? Sa buntis po. Kaya nga, di ba, nagko-cause ng birth defects and developmental malformations. No? Kasi nasa tiyan pa yung baby, nagte-take na sila ng mga drugs na to. No? So we have the acronym TERATOA, no? T for thalidomide. T for thalidomide. Ano ba yan siya? Pag ito ay tinake ng early pregnancy, no? Pag tinake siya ng early pregnancy, it can lead to severe birth defects. Severe birth defects. Ano ang example niyan? Your limb reduction, it's either short ang limbs, o di kaya putol, o di kaya underdeveloped na limbs. Severe eye or ear damage. Yung mga hindi na fully formed yung tenga, no, bingi, bulag, no, and your organ malformation. Your organ malformation. Bakit nagkakaroon ng mga disorder na ganito pag nag-take ng thalidomide early in pregnancy? Bakit? Kasi it will disrupt the developmental of the fetus. Dinidestroy niya kasi yung blood vessels and nagtitrigger siya ng protein degradation. Kaya hindi nakakapag fully na develop ang baby intrauterine. No? Kaya mga putol, hindi underdeveloped yung ears, underdeveloped yung face, underdeveloped yung limbs, no? Kasi nagkakaroon din ng protein degradation. Okay? Letter E, your epileptic meds. No, your epileptic meds. It can significantly impact fetal development, no? Depende sa kung ano yung tinitake mong epileptic drugs, no? Ano ba yung example dito? Your valproic acid. No? Your valproic acid, ano ba ang pwedeng makuha ng baby pag nag-take siya ng breast milk kay mother na nagtitake ng epileptic meds? Your major congenital malformation and lower IQ. No? So, merong major congenital malformation like what? Your spina bifida, your hypospadias, your facial clefts, and lower cognitive scores, mababa ang IQ. Yan ay kung ang mother ay nagtitake ng ng epileptic medication. No? Your neural tube defects, your heart disease, and cognitive issues. No? So that is your epileptic meds. Next is, for those na mga babae na buntis na mahilig mag-skincare, your retinoid. Ano bang example niyan? Yung isotretinoin, your retinol, sa mga sa skincare dyan, tapos nagtitake na ito, please be mindful, lalo na pag feeling nyo buntis kayo, magpa-check up agad kayo para masabi nyo na, ay, nagtitake ako ng ganitong skincare po, doc. No? Para alam mo na kailangan talagang i-stop. Bakit? If continuous pa rin ang pag-take mo ng retinol or isotretinoin, there is a possibility that your baby will be born with severe birth defects and developmental issues commonly known as what? Your fetal retinoid syndrome. Ito yan siya, yung mukha ng may fetal retinoid syndrome. Small ang nose, no? It's either microcephaly o di kaya hydrocephalus, no? Wala, may cardiovascular abnormalities sila, cognitive and learning disabilities, hindi sila agad nakaka-catch up, hindi agad sila parang low IQ pa rin, no? Including potential developmental delay and learning disability. No, may malformation din sa skull at kung mapapansin nyo, it's either wala po siyang tenga o di kaya yung tenga niya na usually dapat ay nandito na siya, low set of ears. No, low set of ears. That is for your retinoid. Next would be your ACE inhibitors. Gamot na nag-end sa pril, lisinopril, enalapril, no, contraindicated siya sa pregnancy in the second and third try, no? Ano kasi siya, it can cause severe fetal harm or damage, no? Ano ba ang examples ng pag nagtake ka ng ACE inhibitors? That includes your oligohydramnios. Pag sinabing oligohydramnios, that is low amniotic fluid. So pag low ang amniotic fluid ng mother, restricted ang pag-grow ni baby. No, restricted siya kaya hindi siya hindi siya lumalaki, no? Pwede din siya maging stillbirth, no? Hindi na lumaki yung limbs niya, hindi na humaba. Kung ano na lang yung size niya doon sa loob, yun na lang talaga. Restricted na yung growth niya because of your oligohydramnios, no? Limb contractures and growth retardation. That is for your ACE inhibitors. Next would be your third element or your lithium, no? Your lithium. Yung pag take sila ng lithium, there is a possibility daw that you have a risk for your Epstein anomaly. Huwag kayong sa Epstein, parang ibang yan. Letter P yata yun, Epstein pa. Epstein pala. Hindi siya Epstein magkaiba yan sila. Ano ba yung Epstein na yan, ma'am? This is the your Epstein, no? If this is the normal heart, no, tricuspid valve mo is nandito sa medyo may gitna. Dito naman sa may Epstein anomaly, sa baba siya. No? At kung mapapansin nyo, mas malaki ng dihamak yung right side ng heart, no? Kaya yan yung malformation na nangyayari sa patient with Epstein anomaly. May right heart enlargement and yung symptoms niya, it can be mild to severe pain, cyanosis, fatigue, shortness of breath, and your arrhythmias. Okay? Next is your letter O, your oral contraceptives. Actually, sa oral contraceptives nowadays, parang wala na akong makitang studies, no, against oral contraceptives as a teratogen. Pero older studies suggest na it is associated with limb reduction or cardiovascular defects. No? Next would be decrease in birth weight and preterm birth. Or your oral contraceptives. Again, ngayon, hindi na ako masyadong nakakakita ng studies about oral contraceptives as teratogens. Next would be warfarin. No? Warfarin. Teratogenic siya because it can cause what? Like this. Fetal warfarin syndrome. Pero kung mapapansin nyo, may nasal hypoplasia or your small nose, no, skeletal deformities, just like this one, this one and this one. And abnormal bone formation, shortened fingers, and skeletal malformation. No, fetal warfarin syndrome occurs primarily sa first trimester. No, it occurs mainly on the first trimester, causing nasal hypoplasia or your depressed nose, abnormal bone formation, and shortened fingers and skeletal malformations. No, so that is your fetal warfarin syndrome. Next but not the least, last but not the least would be alcohol. No, drinking alcohol, kaya sinasabi, pag buntis ka, huwag ka nang uminom ng uminom because drinking alcohol during pregnancy can cause miscarriage, stillbirth, and lifelong physical, behavioral, and intellectual disabilities on infants na nag-breast milk sa mother nagtitake ng large amounts of alcohol. No, the most severe type of the fetal alcohol spectrum disorder is the fetal alcohol syndrome or your FAS. No, it characterized by the distinct facial features, which is yung small eyes, thin upper lip, and growth restrictions and central nervous system abnormalities. Ano ba mukha ng may FAS, no? Small ang openings ng eyes, no? Maliit masyado. Your nasal bridge dapat flat yan siya. Small head, no? Epicanthal folds, smooth philtrum, yung parang cupid's bow dito sa taas ng bibig, no? And then thin upper lip. So that is how you describe the alcohol, no? Sa alcohol. Fetal alcohol syndrome. Nagigets ba? Hala, ang bilis ko naman sa kanila. 4:45 na lang. 4:44 na lang daw sila. Next would be your herbal and alternative medicines, no? So, lalo na sa mga baryo-baryo, no? Makikita po talaga natin na yung mga patient po natin kung hindi nila kaya mag-take ng medication na napagkamahal-mahal, nagre-resort sila ng herbal and alternative medicines. Pero as a nurse, no, it's your responsibility to identify ano ba yung mga gamot na yan. No, ano ba yung iniinom nila para alam natin if it can be beneficial nga ba o di kaya contraindicated talaga siya. So number 1 here is your ginseng. No, your ginseng is not recommended during breastfeeding because wala siyang safety data. No, your potential hormone, which is estrogen-like, no, it will have their effect on the infant. No, it may cause adverse effects like tachycardia, hypertension, and hormone imbalances in infants. No. Next would be your kaba-kaba. Pag sinabing kaba-kaba, it is associated with potential liver damage and passes into milk. No? Potential liver damage. Kaya pag nagtitake ka ng kaba-kaba, expect mo na that there will be possible na liver damage. Okay? Si kaba-kaba is parang originated ata siya or sikat siya sa Polynesian countries, no? Sa mga Pacific Islanders. No? Your kaba-kaba is strongly advised against while breastfeeding due to the risk of active kaba lactones. Passing kaba-kaba is strongly advised against, ay sorry, naulit ko yung sinasabi ko. Your kaba-kaba is strongly advised against while strongly advised against while breastfeeding due to the risk of active kaba-lactones passing into the breast milk, no? So your kaba-kaba has this kaba-lactones na nagpapass into your breast milk again by what? Their passive diffusion. It can potentially cause sedation, muscle weakness, and rarely skin discoloration in infants. No, it can cause sedation, muscle weakness, and skin discoloration. No. Bakit nga ba nagte-take yung tao ng kaba-kaba? Tine-take nila yung kaba-kaba pang decrease ng anxiety tsaka ng stress reduction, no? It can also decrease insomnia, no? Kasi nag-i-improve siya ng sleep and then muscle relaxation. Kaya pag si patient, si mother nag-take ng kaba-kaba, no? Advise her to take another alternative for it, no? Baka kasi your kaba-kaba can bring harm to the baby. Next would be your St. John's wort. It is generally considered to pose minimal risk to older infants. No, sa older infants naman siya. This can cause mild side effects like what? Your drowsiness, your colic, kabag, no? Lethargy, tulog ng tulog, inaantok palagi. And infants under 2 months. While low amounts entered breast milk, some studies show a higher prevalence and of these symptoms in breastfed infants whose mothers are taking. No? So next would be your antidepressants and psychiatric drugs. Ano ba yung examples ng mga to? Your lithium and your clozapine. Your lithium, discuss na natin yan kanina pa. So let's start with your clozapine. No, your clozapine is generally hindi talaga siya recommended during breastfeeding due to limited safety data and potential risk to the infant including what? Your sedation, decreased heart rate, sorry, and rarely your agranulocytosis or your critical drop in your blood, specifically your white blood cells. No, critical drop of your white blood cells, your agranulocytosis. Next would be your CNS depressants. So, hindi lang si mother ang nagkakaroon ng CNS depressions, pati na din si baby kasi nagpa-pass through yan siya papunta ng breast. No? Your diazepam passes into breast milk and can accumulate due to its long half-life, potentially causing sedation. Again, ano ba yung pag sinabing CNS depressant, parang pare-parehas lang kasi yan sila, no? You have your sedation, your drowsiness, your poor feeding. Kasi hindi ka makakain, syempre, hindi mawawala si weight loss. Ay, sedation, drowsiness, poor feeding, and agranulocytosis. Yan. Sedation, dizziness, for feeding, and agranulocytosis. Pag sinabi naman natin phenobarbital, no, considered safe siya basta alam ng doktor. No, alam ng doktor. The main risk here is parang same pa rin dito sa CNS depressants, no, na pangalan. And your morphine. Morphine can be used cautiously while breastfeeding for short-term pain relief at low doses. No? Pwede siyang i-take, pero hindi siya talaga recommended. No? Kaya pag sinabi natin analgesics, pwede tayo mag-take ng paracetamol, no, or other analgesic na na mas safe siya compared to your morphine. No? Next would be your codeine. Your codeine, hindi talaga siya binibigay, no? Because higher risk for opioid toxicity po in infants ito, no? Matotoxic lang yung infant, no? Pag nag-take yung mother ng codeine. Okay? Nagagets ba? Ito pare-parehas lang yan sila ng magiging ano niya, which is your CNS depression. No? Your diazepam, phenobarb, your morphine, and your opiate. Next would be your anti-thyroid drugs. Your anti-thyroid drugs. So, sa anti-thyroid drugs, lalo na pag yung patient is tinanggalan na ng thyroid, no? Meron na silang, what do you call this? Lifetime na iti-take na medication for maintenance. And if your your maternal methimazole therapy does not affect your thyroid function. No, wala itong effect. Wala siyang effect. Kaya siya ang drug of choice for those who are pregnant na dapat magte-take ng propylthiouracil. No? Ito ang mas prefer nila, your methimazole. No, your methimazole. So, or is methimazole versus thiouracil or your PTU, si methimazole po yung laging pinipili. Bakit? Less ang signs and side effects, no? Walang significant na adverse effects ang nakikita sa mga individuals na nagtitake ng methimazole while pregnant, no? Ang concern lang kasi sa PTU, there is a probability of your hepatotoxicity. Your hepatotoxicity, hindi lang sa mothers, pati na rin sa baby, nagkakaroon ng liver injury. Kaya mas gusto na lang nila mag-methimazole. Okay? Breastfeeding is considered compatible with moderate doses of PTU given na hindi sila mag-breastfeed talaga na exclusive breastfeeding. Tandaan kasi your breastfeeding is pag sinabing exclusive breastfeeding, that is from day 1 to 6 months, no? Day 1 to 6 months, no? So, hindi mo naman, kung nagte-take ng drugs yung hindi mo naman mapipilit na mag-exclusive breastfeeding. Kaya papasok po doon ang education po natin for mixed feeding, yung magbe-breast milk, tapos magpo-formula, o di kaya yung permanent na magpo-formula feeding na lang. Okay? Next would be your antibiotics. Actually, marami to. First here is your chloramphenicol. Your chloramphenicol, pag nag-take si mother ng chloramphenicol, no, usually your chloramphenicol nasa eye drops, ear drops, no, pag mag-a-administer through eye, as eye drop or ear drops, no, after that, dapat maghugas ng matindi ng kamay, no, para hindi magkaroon ng remnants ng gamot doon sa kamay ni mother, no. Hindi po advised yung systemic, which is your oral and IV, no. Kaya kailangan careful monitored talaga yung mga students. No, your chloramphenicol kasi, again, nagpapasya through your breast milk, including adverse reactions of your GI issues, nagsusuka, kinakabag, no? And potentially, nagkakaroon sila ng bone marrow suppression that will eventually lead to your aplastic anemia, no? Alternatives natin, pag kailangan talaga ng antibiotic, no? That is to give your gentamicin. That is it to give your gentamicin, no? Pero if ever na kailangan niya i-take tapos bawal talaga sa kanya ng chloramphenicol, no? We have safer alternatives. Your amoxicillin, your cephalexin, your azit, and your claret. No? Sila yung mga safe alternatives ng antibiotics pag hindi pwede si chloramphenicol. Next would be yan. Yan ang mukha ng isang baby na nagbe-breastfeed sa mother na nag-take ng chloramphenicol. That is your gray baby syndrome. Yung mukha niya is parang gray. Next would be your tetracyclines, yung mga cyclins natin dyan. No, this would lead to your tooth discoloration. Ano ba mukha niyan? Parang ganyan siya. Your teeth discoloration yan, oh. Bakit nagkakaroon ng ganyan? It is because your tetracycline, no, nagsistain siya kasi nagbabind siya sa calcium na makikita natin sa sa dentin, sa ngipin. Kaya pag na-stuck na doon, yung dark colored compound ng tetracycline, magi-stay lang doon, no? Yun, grabe naman kasi. No, tetracycline, no? Sa dentins po, sa enamel po ng ngipin, no? Nagbabind doon kaya nagkakaroon ng discoloration. Ano bang color niyan? Intrinsic, yellow, brown, or gray discoloration, no? Pag pinasinagan ng light, mas lalong dark po ang mukha niyan. So, kailangan alam ng doktor kung anong tinitake mong medications. Lahat dapat, pati supplements, no? Next would be your fluoroquinolones. Your fluoroquinolones, your floxacins, no? Your ciprofloxacin, levofloxacin, no? May mga minor side effects lang siya like your diarrhea or thrush, no? Diarrhea and thrush. And kung ayaw mo na magkaroon yung baby ng exposure to your ciprofloxacin, no? Avoid breastfeeding 3 to 4 hours after a dose. So, pag uminom ka, avoid ka muna ng 3 to 4 hours bago ka magpadede sa baby mo. No? 3 to 4 hours after a dose. Nagagets ba? Isa din po dito ang side effects po ng joint toxicity for your fluoroquinolones. Okay? So, that is your antibiotics. Next would be your drug abuse, no? Yung mga recreational drugs, no? Strictly prohibited po talaga sila. Hindi talaga sila pwedeng i-take kasi mas matagal silang nananatili sa katawan, no? Nagkakaroon talaga ng epekto sa bata, not only physically, no? It can increase the risk of your stillbirth, your miscarriages, and the likes, no? For your cocaine, no, highly discouraged siya because of the risk of toxicity, and mapapansin natin yung yung children na merong exposure sa cocaine, no? May neuro effects, nagsi-seizure, tremor, no? May cardiovascular, yung tachycardia, hypertension. Now, for your marijuana, no, your Mary Jane, hindi siya recommended because your THC or yung nagpapa-high na component ng marijuana, nai-store siya sa fat cells ng ilang araw hanggang weeks. Imaginein kahit mag-pump and dump ka pa ng meron kang milk, no? Pag nag-bind na kasi siya sa fat, tas nag-stay sa katawan, magpo-produce yung katawan mo ng milk na merong bahid ng marijuana, no? Kaya hindi talaga siya recommended. Kung magpapadede man sa baby, kailangan that is mapapadede sa baby, dapat pure formula fed yung baby, no? Hindi na mag-attempt ng breastfeed. Next would be your heroin. No, your heroin, it has been long been known that infants exposed via breast milk can be affected and develop abstinence if breast milk is discontinued. No, kasi during the time na, for example, yung mother is nake-heroin, no, yung katawan ng bata, nag-a-adapt kasi siya, no. Kaya pag nag-stop si mother mag-heroin, nagkakaroon din siya ng withdrawal, no? Nagwi-withdrawal din si baby. Next would be the methamphetamine, no? Again, ilan yung ano niya? Ilan yung ano ng methamphetamine? Yung half-life ng methamphetamine, we have half-life 100 hours or kulang-kulang 4 days, no? Kaya hindi ka makakapagpadede within 4 days, no? Kasi sa katawan mo, andyan pa rin yung bahid ng drug na yon, no? Pwede sila maging irritable, withdraw, no? Poor feeding, hindi na sila lumalaki, no? And potential, magkakaroon din sila ng tinatawag nating toxicity, no? Next would be your cytotoxic drugs, or another term would be your chemotherapeutic drugs, no? Chemotherapeutic drugs. Tandaan natin yung chemotherapeutic drugs nagsusuppress ng immune system. Kaya pag pumasok siya sa milk ng mother, tapos naipadede din yun sa anak niya, expect natin na yung effects ng cytotoxic drugs mamamanifest din ng bata, no? Mamamanifest din ng bata. Bakit? Ano ba ang work ng cytotoxic drugs? They damage or kill rapidly dividing cells, no? Pinapatay niya yung mga rapidly dividing cells. So, pag inatake na yung mga rapidly dividing cells, it will increase for leukopenia, neutropenia, and severe bone malformation. Next would be your radiopharmaceuticals, no? It is used on diagnostics and therapy. Diagnostics like what? Yung may mga gumagamit ng dye, contrast dye, no? Yan. Pag iodine, pag technetium 99M, no, very common ito, no. Usually considered siya as safe, pero kailangan mag-pause ng breastfeeding for 12 to 24 hours to let the radioactivity decay. no? Para tuluyang mawala yung radioactivity. Pag sinabi namang iodine 131, nagko-concentrate siya heavily sa thyroid and breast tissue, no? Yung breastfeeding dito is completely stopped. No, breastfeeding here is completely stopped and dapat nakapag-wean ka na 2 to 3 weeks before ng procedure, no? Kaya kailangan ahead of time makapag-wean ka na sa anak mo, no? Permanent na kasi yan siya, kaya expect mo na din permanent na din siyang what? Na hindi na siya magpapadede, magfo-formula feeding na lang siya, no? Magfo-formula feeding na lang talaga siya. Okay? Pag technetium 99M naman, temporary interruption lang yan siya. So within 3 to 48 hours, pwede na siya mag-resume ng breast, no? Next would be, ayan, meron tayong 5 drug safety categories, no? Actually, A lang yan siya. A, B, C, D, and X. Pag sinabing A, safe yan siya. Kaya pag nakita mo yung label niya is category A for pregnancy, no? Safe siya to consume by a pregnant woman, no? Pwede siyang i-take. Your letter B is hindi naman identified kung beneficial ba siya or hindi, no? Kung okay ba siya i-take o hindi, no? Ang meron lang siya is evidence na magkakaroon ng risk sa animals pero wala pa sa humans. So, si B1, B2, and B3 or simply letter B, no, yung iba nagte-take pa rin sila kasi wala naman daw mawawala. No. Kasi wala namang sinasabi dito na may fetal harm, no, na mangyayari. Next is with letter C, based on known or suspected effects, drugs with pharmacological effects that may cause reversible harm to fetus but no malformation. No, may reversible harm, it means may ibabalik pa with no malformations. Pagdating ng letter D, hindi ka na nagbibigay niyan kasi high risk na, no? Increase na yung risk for fetal malformation or irreversible damage. At pag sinabing X prohibited, bawal na bawal talagang i-take, no? Bawal na bawal talaga i-take. Next would be your nursing responsibility. Siyempre, as nurses, meron ka din namang responsibilities niyan. That is to assess, to educate, to identify the timing strategies, and to monitor. Paano ba? Assess. Kailangan alamin mo lahat ng medications ang meron si mother. From supplements to ano man dyan yung mga additional niyang mga capsule dyan o medications na tinitake, kailangan i-identify natin para what? To identify whether those medications are safe para sa mother and if safe para sa baby. Number 2, you need to educate sino? The mother, no? Kailangan ma-educate natin si mother na kailangan may consultation bago mag-take ng medication, no? Kailangan mag-avoid din ng self-medication na kung may iniindang sakit, alam mo na agad kung ano yung igagamot mo kahit hindi naman talaga yun yung gamot, no? Yung iba nagsa-self-medicate na lang kasi alam nila gano'n, pero avoid natin 'yan, no? The doctors know better, no? Then, educate natin si mother na mag-report ng unusual infant behavior, no? Yung increased drowsiness, increased infant breathing, no? Kailangan ano natin 'yan, educate natin 'yan. Then, educate din natin si mother ng risk and specific dangers ng drugs kung itutuloy niya 'yon habang buntis siya o di kaya habang siya ay you know, Ano ma'am? Nagulat naman ako. No, risk and specific dangers of drugs, no? Next would be your pump and dump. Pag sinabing pump and dump, magpa-pump ka ngayon tapos hindi mo siya ipapadede sa anak mo. Itatapon mo lang siya. Bakit kailangan ng pump and dump? That is to stimulate na hindi mawalan ng production ng milk ang dede mo. Kasi pag ilang araw ka nang hindi nagpapadede, na hindi ka na ah, hindi ka na excuse na breastfeeding, no? Nagsa-start na mag-cessate yung production ng milk mo. Kumukonti na siya ng kumukonti until the time na pag sinabing wala na talaga ang milk, hindi na ng milk kasi hindi na stimulate yung breast to produce milk, no? That is your pump and dump. Magpa-pump ka, itatapon mo, no? Next would be, sabihin mo kay patient, no? Kung si mother ay nag-i-smoke, dapat mag-smoke siya more than 2 hours before breastfeeding or at most kailangan talaga emphasize natin na magse-safe na po. Tama na, no? Kasi hindi lang naman siya ang mamomroblema niyan, pati yung mga tao sa paligid niya. No, next would be your large amounts of alcohol. Kailangan avoided siya kasi you have high risk for your FAS or your fetal alcohol syndrome. No? Next would be your timing strategy. No? Wag kang mag-take ng medication bago ka magpadede. Bakit? Kasi mas mataas yung accumulation sa milk noon ano mo, drugs. No? Next would be so ano yung gagawin natin? Hindi mo siya iti-take before breastfeeding, rather iti-take mo siya after ng breastfeeding, no? If hindi talaga kaya, pag before breastfeeding talaga, make sure to ask your doctor kung ilan ang half-life o di kaya ilang hours bago ka kumain, magte-take nung gamot na yon, no? Para wala or minimal ang effects kay baby. Next would be, huwag kang magpapadede during peak levels ng next feeding, no? Huwag kang magte-take kasi kung peak ng drug, edi peak din yung signs and symptoms niya doon pag binigay mo, no? And then monitoring, monitor mo yung lab test, lalo na sa mga medications na nagpapababa ng white blood cells, ng nag-i-increase ng risk for leukopenia, neutropenia, no? Kaya kailangan i-check yung laboratory test. Infant, side effects such as irritability, sedation, diarrhea, refusal to feed, or poor weight gain. Kailangan alam din ni mother na mag-report ng ganitong side effects, no? Para alam mo din kung bakit nagkakaganon yung baby. No, next would be for your drug cessation. Is it temporary or permanent? Saan tayo nagpo-permanent na stop? That is during your iodine 131 therapy, no? And then your pump and dump, that is your temporary treatment para hindi maging gorge yung breast mo. Ipapump mo yung milk and then itatapon mo lang kasi hindi mo pwedeng i-risk baby na ma-expose doon sa inyong nage-gets ka ba? Sana nage-gets nyo. Do you have any questions? Ay, grabe na. Do you have any questions? Again, our midterm exams will be on Wednesday, April 29, no? We will stop here until dito lang yung coverage ng exam nyo. So hopefully makabawi kayong lahat, no? Attendance again will be yung sinagutan nyo kaninang pre-assessment. Ma'am, pwede ma'am pabukas, hindi na po ako magbubukas in whatever reason, no? Kasi announce naman po. So if you don't have any questions or clarifications, ang bilis naman, you're free to go, no? 2:55.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye,
Bye.
ma'am.
Bye.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am. Good night.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye, Ma'am. Sleep
Bigla na
well.
sila.
Ma'am, good night po.
Bye,
Good
mami.
night daw.
Po, ma'am.
Bye,
Thank you po.
Na.
Bye,
Thank you.
ma'am.
Ingat
Good night,
kayo.
Good day, ma'am.
Bye,